Okay, welcome to Bitrix24 Live. I'm Damien Edwards, Commercial Manager of Bitrix24 Partners Interface. And with me I have our Support Manager, Andy Naylor.
Hi guys, we're going to be here for the next hour, so if you've got any questions with regards to Bitrix, please do put them in the box next to the video and we can answer them as we go along. We're going to be in the cloud version of Bitrix as well as the on-premise version, so if you've got questions on either, please do ask.
Okay, so we have a question here on email. We have multiple marketing funnels that we use to nurture leads. I know the deals section has multiple pipelines available depending on deal type. What about leads? Is there anything similar we can do for leads? So you've got to explain the sort of process that you have to manage leads, as to how best to utilize Bitrix24 automation and tracking to accomplish multiple funnels. So you want to have multiple pipelines within leads. It's not going to be possible. If you go to the CRM and we'll look at leads and deals within the CRM. So leads and deals should be treated differently. Leads integrate with contact center. So a quick look at contact center. So you can set up web forms, chat widgets, email and telephony can all integrate with leads. So an email that comes in from an address that doesn't exist with a contact, similar with a telephone, a call that comes in with a telephone number that doesn't exist in a contact will generate a lead. Chat messages on your live chats on your website will generate a lead. Website forms will generate leads. Facebook, if you're using Facebook integration, those messages on Facebook, your Facebook page, will generate leads. Same on Instagram. So all these different channels can generate leads for you. Leads really should be used as a way to qualify those inquiries. So we've got one here from Facebook. Every business will have a different qualification process. We can either, if we captured some contact information like an email or telephone number, we can get in touch with this person, check that they meet our criteria as a prospect, and convert this into a record within the system. So really, leads wouldn't be used. You wouldn't use different pipelines on leads. You would have, you can categorize these, of course. You'll see where they've come from because it will categorize the source, but you can categorize them in any other way. You can create a custom field here. I could create can we create a list field here? List. I could create a list field here, and we could give that a name, and then we can add our different options for that list field, and that would allow you to categorize it by different product groups, I guess. But you're going to be using, really in Bitrix, you would use leads in order to just ascertain as to whether that particular inquiry is worth you following up. So are they a real person? Do they have a requirement for one of your products? Do they have the means to purchase that product, the budget? And then you can qualify it. So yeah, the answer really is that you can't create multiple pipelines in leads, but the thing to do is to qualify at lead stage, convert it into a deal. So you've got the options here to convert it into, we've got as our default deal, contact and company. You can convert that just into a deal if you just want to do that. But as a deal, contact and company, it's creating 3 records, they all associate with each other. So yeah, you should convert it and then work on pipelines in the deal. Let's have a look inside deals. So they look very similar in terms of the records. You can view them both like as Kanbans like this. When you get to the deal stage, it gives you a total value for deals at that stage. I can move these around and it will show me values based on the total values based on the stage. So yeah, and then I can choose the pipelines up here. So I'm looking at this particular pipeline here. I can choose any one of these pipelines. When you convert, let's just quickly go back. I didn't show you that. When you convert a lead, click on this, click on convert. It's going to ask me if you've got more than one pipeline set up. It asks you which pipeline you want to drop it into. Yes, actually you could do some automation, so it automatically drops it in based on some criteria. So if you want to set up a drop down with your different pipelines essentially in there, you could look at that selection list and then convert it automatically into the pipeline potentially, so you don't have to manually select it. So in that respect you're putting it into different pipelines. But you convert it into a deal, they drop into different pipelines, and that's it. I mean, essentially you know about the rest of it. Inside a deal you've got then your own deal stages, so you have lead stages and you have deal stages. A lead stage might be just new lead and qualified, or new lead pending and qualified. It might not need a whole load of different stages. But really the activity happens inside the deal. You're going to create your notes and do your sales activity inside the deal generally. So unfortunately, I know it might seem like it works better for you in leads. It might be just the terminology, and you just need to think about using the term deal instead of lead. If you've got a self-hosted edition, then we can rename these descriptions up here. So you can actually disable the leads feature, and you could rename deal to leads if that's what you want to do. You could actually disable leads, and this might be the solution for you. Disable the leads feature, rename if necessary deals to leads, and then just come in and create your deals like this. You don't have to associate them with a company and a contact if you don't need to do that. Create your deals, add them into a pipeline, and then do it like that. If you want to disable leads, then go into I think any of the modules. I think in the CRM, go to CRM mode, and you can choose between these two. So in the mode we're in, we have leads enabled. In the simple mode, you've just got deals and contacts and companies. You cut out that lead stage automatically. But if you want to capture those inquiries from incoming calls and emails and web forms and chat widgets and things, then you're going to need to use leads somehow. We'll finish up on this now, but just worth saying that when you get a lead, if you're using automation in leads, let's open the automation tab, you could capture leads from all these different sources. You could automatically convert them. So I could, this is new lead stage, I could use a change status. It's not stage, is it? Where's update stage? Where it's gone. So you can. There is an action block here to be able to update the stage. Status. Okay. So I could add an action block in here that changes the status. So as soon as it becomes a new lead, it automatically changes to qualified lead, and then it will convert into a deal for you. In that case, obviously these stages in between would be useless, and so you would disable these stages in between. That would mean that you could still use the contact center open channels to capture leads from those sources, but they'd generate a lead and automatically generate a deal. You can actually then go, if you really wanted to, you didn't want all those leads in the system, you could then go, I think you can go delete lead somewhere. I think you can delete CRM records, so you could delete this lead off the systems, and it would be as though it never existed inside your system. So different options really, as there always is, different ways of achieving this. Either disable CRM, disable leads altogether and just generate deals, use the leads module as a stage to qualify the prospect kind of manually, or automatically convert using the automation and convert a lead to a deal, and then use the pipelines in deals. And as I say, if you've got self-hosted, then we can rename some of these. You can rename most things inside Bitrix. You can't rename these in the cloud or the self-hosted. You can rename those sort of things. So hope that helps.
Okay, got a couple of questions in. Does Bitrix24 support the Arabic word or Arabic letter? Don't believe it does. Currently, Bitrix is available in English, German, Spanish, Brazilian Portuguese, French, Italian, Polish, Turkish, Chinese, Japanese, but no, it doesn't support the Arabic word at the moment.
Okay. Oops. I'm going to show you. So we've got a question in here about. I'll read the question. Could I use deals or external workgroup to track legal cases that extend over 2 years and use list as custom fields and give access to other clients to their legal case? So the answer to the question is, could I use deals or external workgroup to track legal cases? Well, you could, but you couldn't give access to external clients to a deal. So extranet users don't get access to any of the CRM modules at all. So they essentially are allowed access to anything within a work group. So let's have a look in this one. They get access to tasks, calendars, drive, chats, all those features, but you can't give them access to deals inside the CRM. I just wanted to show you. You mentioned giving access to clients to legal cases. I'll just show you quickly how we have a module for law firms built on Bitrix24. It's extensively customized for managing legal cases to allow fee earners to book time into cases and roll those up into invoices that you can then send to your client, and it allows you to all log in, including the client if necessary, into a group and then collaborate on the case. Let's just have a look. I'll show you just briefly what it does. Let's have a look in a different one. So essentially what you have is some different terminology on the left hand side. So a work group is now a matter, the contacts are now clients, and inside a matter, which is essentially a work group inside Bitrix, you've got a series of tasks. So you can create a series of tasks and we can add time to those tasks. I clock into here, you can see I can stop time on this, and I can start chargeable or non-chargeable time. So they're then treated differently. Obviously non-chargeable time is not going to be rolled into an invoice you send to the client, but you're recording it. So that's one key difference in terms of how you can manage time for cases. You get access to you and the other people and the client, if you want to invite them in, get access to tasks, or whichever task within the group you're given access to. You get access to calendar, get access to the chat if you want to give them access to that as well. And you can access directly from the work group the client record as well. So do that again. You're going to click on here within a work group and slide in the client record, and you can see all the history down here. Obviously the contact information about that client. You can see time spent with that particular client. You can view all the cases that you've worked on for that particular client, and of course I can email from here. So if I go into send them a new letter of engagement, I've got all these different templates I can send out directly from here. So if you're looking at case management software for a law firm, then we've got that built, ready to go. The other thing, just briefly, you can do is I can click in here and I can start to record time. That's not allocated to any particular case. So should the phone go and I pick the phone up and I want to record time and not spend time finding the client's details, I'm starting recording, I can finish that, I can go to my time tracking page, I can find that, which is this one here, and see the date. You can see that it's not set yet, and I can add that, edit that, and add it to a case or a matter. It actually rolls time up in this one to 6 minutes. So any time you spend on anything always rolls up to 6 minutes. Tends to be law firms tend to want to break hours down into tens, so it automatically rolls that up. You get a full history of everything, every time spent on that matter, who's who it's allocated to, which is the client, etc. So there's lots of good stuff in there for you managing legal cases, and you would need a self-hosted edition of Bitrix, and then you need our law firm plugin. If you want to give us a call, we can, or get in touch, we can do a demo, full demo of that afterwards. Okay, so you followed up with that, so I tried it with a work group. It didn't have much on custom field types or use lists of custom fields. So I mean, a work group does include lists, so you could, record. You can give access to an extranet user, so you can give access to your client in a standard version of Bitrix, access to a list. Let's see if we've got one set up. No, I don't know, but a list is a standard feature within a work group. It's a list, so you can give access to your client for a list. Yeah.
Just with regards to the custom fields in the CRM, if you wanted to create a custom field, and I'm not sure if you're aware, but if you wanted to, let's create a custom field within a particular company, and let's just say you've got a particular list that you want to link to in this. So let's say the list is cases in a particular work group. You can actually click on, I think it's bind to information block elements, and what that will do is it will give you information block type is lists, and then you would be able to find the list that you want to bind it to. So if you had, for example, cases, you could then bind that to a case list, and then when you're in the custom field, you will be able to select any one of those cases inside that list. So if we just call this, let's just call it expenses in this case, and we're in so let's just say there, and we have expenses, bind to information block, go into a company, let's just show that particular company, and then click on select field. Let's find the expenses field, bottom there, and when we click in here, we'll be able to see that this is being pulled from a list inside Bitrix. So we've got a hotel lunch, click on that, save it, and it automatically populates it. So you can always pull list elements into any custom field inside Bitrix. And like you say, you could link your cases that way, maybe, and that's possible on the cloud. No.
Yeah, you said you assume it's only possible on self-hosted. So I think you can do what I'm just showing you there, and all the features of the work group. You can give access to your extranet user on the cloud. The law firm plugin module we have is only possible with self-hosted. Okay. Just put up our contact details there, so if you want to get in touch about the demo or have any questions about specific functionality that you're looking for, we can answer those questions for you. Contact us on our US, UK or UAE contact numbers there, and we can help you out. Let us have any more questions that you've got.
Yeah, I had a question come through this morning, just with regards to they were asking, can you set alerts so if anyone adds or amends well, in this case it was really amending a contact. Could they notify our 4 key employees? So you can do that. It's quite straightforward. Inside the companies, if we go into settings, back where we were, into automation. So you may be familiar with lead automation and deal automation, but behind companies and contacts as well sits business processes. So we can sit in here, click on add template, and really all that you need to do is click on when changed. So notify when edited, click on here. So the important part is this, so auto run when changed, so when anything gets edited on a particular contact. And then it's as simple and straightforward as sending a notification in here. And that's it really, it's straightforward. But if you don't know where the contact business process automations are, then, and you don't know about this when changed, that's the 2 key elements really.
So we could narrow that down to when a specific field is changed, couldn't we, by using a condition?
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
you'd have to get the original value, and then if it checks if it's different, and then
you'd have to save the original value in a new field and then check whether that's actually updated. But yeah, so that's showing you when anything in the field in the records changed at all. So that would be if that's what they want. That's good. If you show, forgive me if you've shown this before, but how do I get a report that puts all expenses in one spot? Expenses that are entered into a deal. You can't really add expenses to a deal. There isn't a standard field that is called expenses, but I mean, deals obviously have products associated with them which have values. You could create a custom field called expenses, which you could add as a number or money field.
I would do it the way I would create a list called expenses and then have it bind to a deal.
Yeah.
And then it would create a new tab up here.
Should we do that?
Go for it.
Okay. So
I think we already have a list, don't we, called expenses, so you just need to add a new field.
Let's have a look. No. Services.
Yeah.
So we have, so you want to be able to see these all in one spot. So you can do that so if you go into services and you create a list we've got here the description, the cost, the details. Let's see if we've got any other fields available. Cancel. So probably want to know, customize the fields. We probably want to know, let's put deal in here and associate it with bind to CRM elements. Take out these ones because we don't give the user the option to be able to bind it to anything other than a deal. Save that.
I think all you need to do there is just go back into the deal, don't you?
Yeah. Oops, I just wanted to, you would want to record in here. Oops, created by, who's created this probably. They don't need to put their details in, we can automatically capture the person that's created it, so I just add that in. Go back to here, just show these 2 fields that we've...
Yeah, but you wouldn't, I don't think you would enter in the actual expense here, there's no need, so you'd go into the deal itself.
Reorganise those a little bit. Yeah, so okay, go into a deal.
So now that you've added it, you change the word element, wouldn't you, to expense? But you can add here.
Hotel. you could have date or entered, I don't know what that is, but and then it's also automatically going to find the deal that it's associated with, and that's it. So you when you create that bind to deal field, it creates a list, a menu item for you within expenses.
You probably don't need that deal on there.
To show the deal again in there. But if we go back into services, expenses, click on the little star here, create you a link directly to this page. Then there's the one we just added now. You can see it's linked to that. That will link me through.
I think the good thing about viewing it in this way is that the expenses give you the ability to filter, don't they? So you could create filters, and then if you wanted to, you could export that data as well from this table. Yeah.
In addition, you can do a filter, and you can run business processes. So in this case, we've got a couple of processes, that maybe you need to request approval for this. You could have business processes that trigger automatically when you add an expense, and that might actually create a workflow for somebody to approve it. Or you can manually run these processes on these expenses. So this is why it's better to use lists in Bitrix generally set for this sort of thing than sort of have these on external spreadsheets, more functionality available. Can the expenses be done on cloud or only in self-hosted? So it can be done on either.
I think the difference is though that in the cloud version there isn't a services link in the left hand side. So if you go to employees, then it's going to be in the lists section here. So you can create as many lists as you want. Like we've shown, the bind to CR element, whatever you bind it to, it will create a new tab inside the CRM element that you bind it to. So it can be done on the cloud or the self-hosted.
Okay. Our contact details up there. Send any questions. Send us your questions, please. I did do a P&L in lists in a work group. Okay, yeah, you can do, that's it then. So you can do lists exist within work groups as well. So you can do that and then bind it to a deal if you want to as well. So if you want to receive notification about live sessions, we do it at the same time, but if you want to receive notifications, then subscribe to Interface on YouTube and Bitrix24 on YouTube and click on the notification bell, and then you'll receive a notification when we go live. We do the same time every week. If you want to register for our webinars, we do those once a week on specific subjects on CRM, project management, telephony, business processes, etc., etc. We do that at 11 a.m. New York time, currently 4 p.m. UK time on a Monday. If you go to our YouTube channel, you can watch previously recorded webinars. Do you have any questions?
I had a question come in. We're not set up to show it. It was just with regards to, does the mobile version literally mirror the PC version of Bitrix? So there's no need to train on just the phone or just the browser version.
Yeah.
But I mean, the answer to that is the mobile app is a slimmed down version of the browser version. It does look different. You can still get access to all of the elements, can't you, as in the CRM. So you can see your leads, you can update your statuses of your leads and see that. But it does look different. It's not an exact replica of what you will see. It's not a responsive version of the browser version. It is actually a mobile app, and it's available on iPhone and Android. So you will need to walk your sales staff through the mobile app itself, because it is different to the browser version.
Okay, can you show me how you turn off new lead notifications for certain users? I don't think you can do it for certain users. So to go into notifications, you need to go into your notifications on bell at the top right hand corner, and you'll see your system notifications in here. And if you go into the settings in here, then it might default to simple mode. So you want to turn off new lead notifications. So this one's turned off email notifications altogether. You can choose that in simple mode. But if you go into advanced mode, then and you go down to the CRM, there should be one for new leads. There are new emails, you were mentioned in a post, CRM, form submitted, callback request. Oh no, so there's nothing for new leads. But then I'm guessing you don't get a notification for a new lead anyway. I'm pretty sure.
If you're responsible
for it, you'll get a notification saying you're responsible. Let's have a look in leads. So you can, no, we can't do it in there. You can, so you can unfollow things, but you can't unfollow a lead. So you want to turn off new lead notifications for certain users. Yeah.
I don't think you can you? It's the only other place it could be would be in the other settings. No. No, I'm not sure how you would be able to do that. I think, like I say, only if you're I suppose if you get brought into a lead as an observer, you could, when you get brought into a lead as an observer, then you also get notifications, but I don't think you can actually turn those notifications off.
Yeah, so when I reassign this to somebody, I wonder if I reassign it back. I don't think I'm receiving a notification on that being assigned to me, so I'm not too sure that. No, actually you do. If you reassign it, you do receive a notification. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, you can of course. Doesn't look like you can. You can of course add additional notifications in automation. So you could, if you want to send an email or any other type of notification, you can do that inside there, but not turn it off by the looks of it. We could, if you have self-hosted, we could disable that feature for you in your control panel. Okay, let us have more questions, if you've got any more questions at all. Okay, how easy is it to integrate Bitrix into my current finance system? So we do this quite a bit with businesses, and there's a few different options. So I think Bitrix handles everything in terms of marketing, nurturing leads, sales management, delivering a project after you've won a sale, and all the HR tools. There is an invoice module in Bitrix, so once you've won a deal or a quote, you can generate an invoice. It doesn't really handle finance, it can't handle different sort of scheduling and tax computations, so you would need a finance system. We can, let's go into this one and find applications. We can integrate with some different applications, finance packages. Let's look what's available. I think we've got QuickBooks and Xero and FreshBooks available as standard apps available. If you want to do something and it's not a, let's have a look. If you want to do something and well, we can't search in here for accounts, finance.
think you can it not fall under do check category? Changed.
It's not allowing us currently to select different categories, which is unusual. But generally, you can select categories and search for finance. So, say you've got Zero, QuickBooks, and FreshBooks. If you're using a finance package that's not one of those, then there's two options. You can use webhooks to post that information into your finance, or you can use the API. To use the API, you would need self-hosted edition of Bitrix. Depends what integration you want to do really as well. So presumably when you generate an invoice in Bitrix, you want to generate that, copy that invoice into your finance. Quite often, and we do this as well for business, they want to sync both ways. So things like products, we might want to sync that product description and the quantity you have in stock and the price and things both ways, so you can edit in your finance package and you can edit it in Bitrix and it'll update the other one. So depends what integration you want to do, but it's all possible. It might be that you need to upgrade to self-hosted to do it.
Yeah, we had a question, didn't we, this week as well, just with regards to getting information from an external system into Bitrix. And also getting information to an external system out of Bitrix. And this is, just while we're in here, just reminded me that if you do want to, both on the cloud and the self-hosted, it gives you the webhook feature. And you need to generate a webhook to be able to post data into Bitrix using an inbound webhook. So if we click into inbound webhook here, then depending on what you want to post into Bitrix, so if it's CRM data like a new lead or create a new contact, you would need this box checked. We had recently somebody create new list items, so they would need to ensure that the permissions were granted to lists, and you can create tasks. There's so much you can do in here. Give it a name, and then once you've generated it, so this is for lists, you will get a unique URL which will have a unique code in it, and then this is your webhook. So you just need then to determine what you want to do. So if you look at the REST API on the Bitrix website, if you want to add a new lead, you just need to add the additional element onto the end of that webhook and then put the parameters in there. So you can see that's what we've got at the moment. You do need to obviously use the API. I think if you just Google Bitrix24 REST API, it will give you the conditions that you need. So lead add, I think lead update, list add, and so on and so forth. So go there, and then you just put the parameters of what you're posting to Bitrix in there. If anybody needs to see an example, please do get in touch with us. We can send you an example webhook, inbound and outbound, to just give you a template to use. But people, it's not just external systems, is it? You can do HTML post, so you can post, if you had a form, built at your own form, you could post into Bitrix using this webhook and posting the variables that are in the form fields. But yeah, it's quite a handy tool. People again tend to miss it in the application store. It's just under webhooks.
Yep. Is it possible to load a list of products from Excel to be used in an online store? So in self-hosted, you can upload anything into Bitrix. You can do a lot. You do that in the control panel. But uploading into products, I'm thinking you probably in online store. I think products in online store are separate to products in the CRM, aren't they?
I think you're on the cloud, aren't you? So let's have a look. I'm not too familiar with it. We'll be in here. That will only give you an export. Provide you with an export of the. Yeah. There's no. I wouldn't have thought, unless in the webhook you could do it using the API. I don't know if the online store is available in the API just yet. I don't know if it would be available on cloud.
Yeah, I think it sounds like that's something that should do. So I'm guessing that I would suggest that it's probably a feature. Online stores in beta, so I'm guessing that is probably something that's going to come. It's not in any of these other settings, is it? No. Catalog settings, category product properties. No. So I think certainly if you had a self-hosted edition, you'd be able to do that. You can upgrade from the cloud to the self-hosted. We can transfer your data from your cloud account to your own instance. You can host. You can buy a self-hosted license. You can host it on your own machine or on your own rented web server, or we can host it for you in our data center. It's all accessible. It looks exactly the same as this. It's accessible over a URL. With the self-hosted, you get to choose your own domain name, and so you get all the functionality you have with the cloud with additional control panel areas. So if you just drop that down, you can see that you can access tools that allow you to create and edit pages extensively, move things around, do what you want, create new pages. In addition to that, you've got a back end where is it called online store? It's not called e-store, is it? There's e-store in here.
It's different.
Yeah.
I think if we just go into modules, maybe what is it you're trying to do?
Yeah, just having a look. Just want to show them the control panel, but you can see the sort of the level of configuration you can get to within the control panel. So it's all, don't have that on the cloud. It's all possible in CRM. How can I generate reports to show how good are my products selling from my product list? So again, I guess if you're talking about e-store, I'm not too sure how many reports there are in the e-store at the moment. You've got orders. You can filter then by product, and that's probably not what you want. You want custom products. Might not have a lot of reporting currently as it's in beta. Again, I can do. Has it got sales volume or anything like that in here? So if you're talking about e-store, then it's probably limited reporting. To be fair, at the moment, in terms of sales by product, you can export all of this. So you can export your orders, and you haven't got an export, but it's unfortunate. Yeah, so you're probably going to have a limited number of ability to report on products. I think again it's in beta, so I think that's probably something that more extensive reporting tools will be coming. If it's in the CRM, you've got reports that you can do inside the CRM, build your own custom reports. You'll be able to do that. If you're talking about products that you add to quotes in the CRM, but they are separate, I think, the products in the CRM and the products in the e-store. Okay, let's just put up our contact details. We'll just close up, finish up in a couple of minutes if we've got any more questions. But do subscribe to us, and you'll receive notifications when we go live. And if you like it and you subscribe, we can do more sessions. So we currently do one a week.
Yeah, I think if you do have any questions throughout the week, do send us an email with those questions at sales@intraface.com or live@intraface.com, and we usually start each session with the questions from the previous week. So please do get them in. We carry on through, as long as we keep getting questions, we carry on for the full hour. But then we've run out today, I think. So
here we have, but thanks very much for your feedback. That's much appreciated, and hopefully we'll see you next time.